Hiya, this is a video response to Truth Slayers. So I'm not a pro wrestling fan now. What annoys me about this whole situation is why on earth are we ripping it out of each other? It's not like we don't get enough shit for being pro wrestling fans as it is, excuse my language, but you know what I mean? We get so much slack for it from everybody else. Why are we giving it to each other? I don't see why we do it. It just seems so stupid. I don't think watching any particular brand makes you less or more a pro wrestling fan. To be honest, I suppose you could class me as a sports entertainment fan instead of a pro wrestling fan, because I hold my hands up to the fact that I watch WWE. I very occasionally watch TNA, but that's about it. I probably would watch ROH at some point, and I'm actually thinking about getting one of their pay-per-views and giving it a go. But I freely admit that living in the UK, certainly when I got into pro wrestling, it was WWF or WWF. So access-wise, before I started coming online and learning about the other ones, the only thing you really had access to in the UK was WWF, and I fell in love with the sport. I don't think that saying they could have done this better, or this was handled badly, or it would have been better if they did this, is being a critic more than being a fan. Because at the end of the day, what makes you a fan is the fact that you tune in every week. It's the fact that you see a preview for something and you spend 2 days thinking about it. Like I said, I hold my hands up to the fact I'm a WWE fan. And when they said Stone Cold was coming back to host Raw, I spent 2 days waiting for that Raw, because I'm a Stone Cold fan and I think he's awesome. And when he appeared, I marked out like a little kid. I thoroughly admit to this. And I was exactly the same the day Bret Hart came back. And I marked out like a lunatic when Edge came back at the Rumble. I don't think we should be putting each other down, because, like, I have so few people I can talk to about wrestling, and the guys on here, especially the ones that are trying to let people know that there are other things out there. I mean, yeah, for some of you it may be a case of, yeah, we already know, but for quite a few of us, especially the fans that aren't in the US and can't go to, there are very few local events. It's not like every other week we can go to a show. I just don't get. It annoys me sometimes with the US fans, because they are so lucky. You've got so much on your doorstep. You've got access to so much more. If you don't have Sky TV in the UK, trying to get to watch WWE or TNA is not easy at all. I mean, TNA is, I'm pretty sure one of theirs is actually on a Freeview channel now, because I think I saw it the other day. That might have been at my mum's and she has Sky. But you have to take this into account, is that when some of these guys are turning around and saying, go take a look at some of the indie stuff, go and take a look at some of the Japanese stuff. Literally, before I started coming onto YouTube, I'd never heard of ROH. And people are going to be jumping up and down at that, but we just don't get it in the UK. And it really annoys me when people are putting guys down who actually are out there doing the fans who haven't had access before to all of the stuff that you've had access for years, and saying, look, here's something different. And that's fucking brilliant. Sorry, shouldn't swear. But it is, and it's like, you know what? At least these people have got the guts to stand up and state their opinions. If they think something's rubbish, they say it's rubbish. And you know what? They deserve a bloody award for that, because the amount of crap they get off people. It's like Gemini, bless his cotton socks, is an utter WWE mark, and I love him for it, because he absolutely adores what he does, and nobody should be put down for loving a sport. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter whether they're cheering for WWE, whether they're cheering for TNA, whether they're cheering for ROH, whether they're cheering for some little indie production thing. They're supporting wrestling, and that's what matters. They're supporting a sport you love. So just lay off already, seriously. Because you know what? If it weren't for guys like tslay and all the other guys like him who actually stand up and say, look, there's new stuff out there, then these guys wouldn't be getting new viewers. The guys who aren't in the US and don't have access to it would never get to learn about it. Just take that into account a bit. Because honestly, if you gave each other just a little bit of credit for the fact that you're trying to support a sport that you all love, no matter what brand it is, then it'd be a hell of a lot easier. And there is nothing wrong with criticising stuff, because all you're saying is, this is what I think they could do to make it even better. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing, that's fan input. I mean, granted, WWE doesn't really listen to fan input a hell of a lot of the time. But at least they've got the guts to stand up and say it. You know what I mean? If you're not going to put a face to your words, and you're not going to stand up and say, and post video responses to the person you disagree with or the person you agree with, then shut up. I'm sorry, but that's my opinion.